Good evening, everyone. How's everyone going? Hope that the week's been treating you well so far. I'm really excited about tonight's sharing, and part of the reason why is because it's something that I have personally been struggling and really growing in myself, and I feel like it's a really important subject. So let's get started, and I have a thought experiment for you, okay? So we all know that modern life is tough and demanding. And if you're a parent of a young child, it's probably doubly so. There's so many inconvenient chores in life. Now, let's say that one day you are walking on the beach and you find a magic lamp with a special convenience genie inside of it. Okay. So you rub the lamp and a genie comes out and he says, I am going to make your life more convenient. And he offers you these options. And I'll read it out to you. And he says that you can have any of them or all of them. How many would you take? And here are the options that he gives you. Option one, a cleaner to clean your house and vacuum your house for you. Option two, a dishwasher to wash your dishes after dinner. Three, a chef to cook your meals for you. Four, a chauffeur to drive you around. Five, a nanny to stay overnight every night and settle your baby whenever they wake up in the middle of the night so you can get a good night's sleep. Six, a babysitter to play with your kids and take them to the park. And seven, lastly, wet nurse to, well, I don't know if you guys know what a wet nurse is, but anyway, if you do, then option seven is a wet nurse to provide wet nurse services for you. Now, how many of those would you take? I imagine like maybe most of us would probably go for the first couple because who wouldn't mind someone else to clean the house for us? I probably think that some of us might go for a couple of the other ones. Like, I definitely wouldn't mind someone cooking for me, but I kind of enjoy cooking myself, and I don't think I'd want someone doing that for me all the time. Same thing for driving. I wouldn't mind someone to drive me around because sometimes I'm tired, just don't want to get behind the wheel and get stuck in traffic and all that. But I wouldn't want that all the time either because, I like driving and every now and then I want to do it for myself. How about a nanny to stay overnight, live with you every night, and you never have to wake up again to settle your baby and you could get a good night's sleep every night again? Oh, I bet some of us here would probably kill for that, right? I mean, I'm so tired. I need help. I need my parents or my in-laws to give me a break. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely if we could be like those families in Singapore or Malaysia where it's normal to have helpers around the house? But the thing is, I don't want that all the time. Yes, it's painful to wake up when my baby's crying at 2 a.m. and settle them, but it's nice to as well. And yes, sometimes I'm too tired and I don't want to take my baby to the park or go play with them or whatever. And I dare say from time to time, I would love to have a helper to do that. But I don't want to never do that. I like playing with my precious child. I like taking them to the park or going for a walk with my baby daughter or son. I don't want to never get to do that again. And even though I'm so tired, if I never got to wake up in the middle of the night to settle my child, I kind of feel like I would miss out on some fundamental experience, dare say, miss out on some fundamental joy of parenting. And yes, it's killing me. All this getting up, my baby not settling, waking up every couple of hours. But it's also nice to be needed, isn't it? Right? I mean, that feeling of there's this human being, there's this creature who wakes up in fear and distress and wants me, wants and looks for me. I am the answer to someone's problem. My presence gives someone peace, puts them at ease. What a privilege. Like, how could there be anything more fulfilling than that? Now, lastly, for that last one, I don't care how much pain and discomfort and sleeplessness it causes me. I am not letting anyone else nurse my baby. It's weird and it's gross. And I get that other people used to do it in the past, like it's normal, like wet nurses used to be a thing. But no way, absolutely not. No other human being can have that kind of intimate connection with my baby. Now, This is just a thought experiment, but let me ask you this question. What else would you add to this list? Those of you who are with me live online, why don't you take a crack at it and type into the Zoom chat box? If this convenience genie gave you the choice to customize your own wish, what would you ask for? Here's just a few of my personal requests. I would love for a helper to go grocery shopping for me. I would love for the convenience genie to give me a helper to put sunscreen on my wriggly child. Oh, I gotta go. I would love for a helper to load up my car with everything that we need to go out, to go to church and stuff, including stuff that I would otherwise forget. So I never have to check, oh, do I got enough nappies? Do I got the water bottle? Do I got this? Do I got that? Everything's always loaded up immediately, and I don't have to. And thank you, convenience genie. Laundry, that's a huge one. Oh my. If someone could just magically do my laundry for me every week, and I never had to do that again for the rest of my life. What are your stuff? Let me check the Zoom chat box. So we've got ironing and mowing the lawn, gardening. Someone says, remind my husband things. How many of you guys would ask for a helper to help you keep up with friends? That one's a little bit different, isn't it? Someone wrote in the chat, washing dishes. I bet that's a very common request that this convenience genie gets. How many of you guys might ask your convenience genie to give you a helper to go on dates with your spouse for you so that you don't have to be burdened with making time to date your spouse? Does that get a little bit weird now? Now, the topic for tonight is inconvenience. And life is full of inconveniences. And here's something that I notice about inconvenience. My definition of inconvenience is anything in life that causes trouble, difficulties, or discomfort. Actually, that just comes from Google. Now, here's something that I notice. I notice that one person's inconvenience is oftentimes another person's joy. So maybe some of us hate driving and would love to have a chauffeur take them around, but maybe someone else loves it. Maybe someone else driving is a hobby to them. It helps them relax. What kind of stuff do you hate doing related to your children? Because I bet you for every inconvenient thing you hate, there's somebody who actually enjoys that. So for example, this is kind of embarrassing, but I actually don't really enjoy reading to my kids, but Joe loves it. But Joe doesn't enjoy doing rough and tumble play with the kids, like horse play, like throwing them around and running around, chasing them and stuff like that. But I love it. And so inconvenience is a relative thing, isn't it? Now, here's another observation. I think that we would all love some inconveniences to go away and never have to deal with it again. But we would hate for all inconvenience to go away. Imagine this was an evil genie and took away all of that stuff, and you would never do the dishes again. You would never drive your car again. You would never settle your kid again. You would never again have to play with them. I think for most of us, we would be devastated by that. And so I think the most joyous and meaningful experiences in life also happen to be the ones that produce inconvenience. And so I think that when we try to avoid inconvenience in life, we just end up avoiding life itself. Now, this is a really hard truth to swallow, but isn't it true? Like when we think about how life works, oh, I'm tired. I'm too tired to run around and chase the kids, do some horseplay with them. But I love that. But it's painful to do that when I'm tired. I'm anxious. I've got a lot going on at work. I've got a big meeting coming up. I'm on this big project. It's causing me a lot of stress. I'm under a lot of pressure. I'm too anxious with work stuff to be right here, enjoying the moment, walking through the park with my family. But I like walking through the park with my family. Oh, if only there were an inconvenience genie to appear in my life right now to spend time with my family so I could just focus on this work project. Imagine outsourcing, spending time with your family so you could do work stuff. What moments in life will you forget or miss or sacrifice just because they're inconvenient. So I guess what I'm trying to do is suggest a perspective change. Instead of inconvenience being something to avoid in life, what if inconvenience is life itself? And here's why I think this is important. In most of modern life, inconvenience is seen as the enemy. It's something that we need to get rid of and minimize and shrink. Why is that? Why does it feel like the whole world is always trying to get rid of inconvenience? I think partly because we want to fit more into our lives and we see inconvenience as getting in that way. So if I didn't have to go grocery shopping, then I could do more with my kids. Or if I didn't have to mow the lawn, then I could get more work stuff done. So paradoxically, inconvenience is seen as a hindrance to life, as if, and the assumption is that doing dishes isn't real living. Like somehow my life takes a pause. I stop existing when I'm doing dishes, which is just nonsense, right? But I think also partly because inconvenience is uncomfortable and painful. And so much of modern life is about reducing and minimizing pain. And we see examples of that all around us in technology and commerce. Contactless payment, QR code menus in restaurants so that I don't have to talk to a waiter. The delivery economy, so I never have to set foot in a physical store again. Amazon, Uber Eats, even Woolies now is using Uber to get your groceries to your door. And everything was accelerated, by the way, because of COVID, right? Because now remote life has removed so much inconvenience out of our lives. There's Zoom work, Zoom church, Zoom family devotions, Zoom socializing. Everything can be done in your pajamas, which saves you the inconvenience of having to change into going out clothes. The problem is inconvenience, when taken too far, is the rejection of the life that God has given you to live. Because God created us. He created us to do certain things, to only be able to get a certain amount of things done in a day. He created us to break into a sweat when we have to load 10 bags of groceries into our car. He created us to be uncomfortable when we're standing over the sink scrubbing dishes, to be a little bit bored when we're pushing our lawnmower around the lawn. And when we go to extreme lengths to eliminate inconvenience, what we're actually trying to do is say, God, the way that you created me, I'm not happy with it. And I'm going to do what I can to kind of live it my way. So God gave us discomfort and pain. And doing painful things is an expression of what we find worthwhile to do. And here's where the perspective change comes in. I want to suggest that embracing inconvenience is receiving the life that God has given you with gratitude. If we can change our attitude about the stuff that we don't like to do and give thanks for it, wouldn't that be lovely? Wouldn't it be lovely if we can give thanks to God for every experience that we go through, no matter how painful? Um, a few weeks ago, when I did a topic on savoring, I said that we need to nurture the practice of savoring and giving thanks for every moment of our lives, good and bad. And I think that really hit a nerve for a lot of you because we all realize we struggle with being present in the moment. Today's sharing is sort of along those lines. I'm hoping to shift our perspective on what we do in life and what we find annoying and what we want to get rid of so that we might be able to enjoy more things in our lives. And so let me give you a few suggestions and also a reflection question for us to consider as we finish up. Firstly, commit to a perspective change. We can embrace inconvenience and love it as part of life. But how? How are we going to do that? I think one thing that'll help is by being okay with less busyness in life. So I think some of our hatred of inconvenience comes because we perceive it as hindering all the things that we want to do. If I'm grocery shopping, then I can't go to that birthday party and go hang out with my friends and come home in time to put the kids to bed and watch some TV and maybe play some video games or something. Do one thing on a Saturday. I think that's a common experience that new parents eventually have to accept, that everything takes more time. And we used to be able to do 4 or 5 things in a day. And now one thing is already a massive win. And if you try to go to 2 birthday parties in one Saturday, you're in a lot of trouble, right? Another thing is be okay with less things in life. If a lot of what the world wants to sell you is geared towards trying to make your life more convenient, then rejecting that attitude will help you to live more simply, will help you to live with less. So, do you really need that Amazon product? Do you really need that Roomba? Do you really need that thing that'll help you to wash your car slightly faster? And in church, we spend so much time talking about materialism and generosity and spending less money on ourselves and spending more on the kingdom and blah, blah, blah. But I think sometimes we don't get to the heart of what makes it hard for us to be generous. Maybe we find it hard to be generous because we think we need money to buy things to make life more easier. But if we free ourselves from those shackles of trying to make life easier, maybe that's what will unlock generosity for some of us. Another thing, try to do annoying stuff with the joy of life, with what the French call joie de vivre, with the joy of life. Everything, just commit to doing it with more joy. I'm changing a nappy right now. Hey, that's cool. That's awesome. I'm trying to get some caked on pasta off of this pasta dish. Hey, this is pretty nice. I like being here. I'd rather be doing this than not doing this. I love life. And lastly, take notice. And this is kind of overlapping with what we talked about with savoring. Try to spend more time engaged with where you are at the moment and take it in. Take it in with your senses. What am I doing right now? What am I sensing? What am I seeing? What am I hearing? What am I feeling? What am I smelling? What's this room like around me? Take notice. Take notice of where you are at every second of the day and just try to give thanks. Now, someone in the chat raised a great question. What if the inconvenience is only inconvenient at that point in time, but not all the time? And I think you nailed it. That's exactly right. See, the problem with inconvenience is it causes us temporary pain, but most of the time, once the pain goes away, we do remember that time with fondness, right? So how many times, like how many memories do you have that you look back on right now, but at the time was really unpleasant? I think a way to remember to give thanks for the inconvenience of the moment is to try to think about how fondly you'll remember that moment years from now when the discomfort is over. So the other day, my daughter threw up, and I almost went 5 years living in my home. In a couple of weeks, I will have lived in this home for 5 years, and I almost went 5 years without getting anything truly terrible or nasty on the carpet. But so close, all over the carpet, spewed, and just so gross, ruined our night. And we had to scrub, scrub, scrub. We gotta do all this stuff, and it still stinks now. And I gotta find a time to go to Woolies or Bunnings and rent a wet vac. I gotta wet vac the house. That means time. That means money. My carpet will never be the same again. Right now, I can still smell it sitting where I am. But years from now, it'll be something to laugh about. It'll be part of our family history. Once I finish the scrubbing, it'll be an expression of my love for my children. It'll be an expression of the responsible looking after of my household. So don't fixate on the pain. Don't fixate on the discomfort. The discomfort goes away, but that moment will be something you cherish forever. So I think that's it for me. I really hope that we can all commit to having this perspective change. And the reflection question is, what inconvenience in my life do I need a perspective shift on? What inconvenience in my life do I struggle to embrace? And I think that's all I've got to say for tonight.